I think I mentioned at the end of Martin's last question was kind of personal too, and I mentioned it in the introduction of the book. I try to explain 3 things had to come together for me to, begin to feel that I had a relationship with God, and they were the personal, the intellectual, the personal, the social. But you heard that. So if you're really looking for a kind of how-to or some next steps, I'd go there. But I'll just be more personal than that. Was that here I am, just to show you how this faith-doubt thing works. Wouldn't you say that I started writing this book probably about a pretty long time ago. I started developing the material. So did I believe the resurrection of Jesus Christ? Of course, I'm a minister. Did I believe in the bodily resurrection? Sure, I did. Would you say I really believed it? Sure, I really believed it. Does that give you peace? Sure, it gave me peace. Then I had thyroid cancer. And when I was recovering from thyroid cancer, it was about the only time in the last 30 years in which I really was laying in bed without anything to do. And I got a book by the Bishop of Durham named N.T. Wright, who's a world-class Bible scholar, and he'd just written a book called The Resurrection of the Son of God. And it's 800 pages of very high-level historical scholarship. It's not polemical, and yet it's basically, here's his thesis. There is no historically possible alternate explanation for the birth of the Christian church than the resurrection of Jesus Christ. He says there's no other way to explain the data. He says there's no other way that actually fits with what we know about first century history. So it's really high level. And 800 pages, and I'm a fast reader, but it was like, 3 or 4 weeks of just reading every day. And I'm reading through this basically saying, it really happened, it really happened, it really happened, it really happened. And at the end of 4 weeks, I put it down. I was just getting over thyroid cancer, and I wasn't sure whether I was getting over thyroid cancer, like all cancer people, survivors or patients. And I sat it, and I said, oh my gosh, it really did happen. Oh my gosh, it really happened. And what happened, I felt, and you don't have any real control over this, I felt the certainty go down 3 more floors. Floors in my heart I didn't even know were there. I thought I was at the basement. Mm-hmm. And there were 4 or 5 more floors of things. And I just went, suddenly all the floors collapsed, or when something happened in the elevator. This metaphor is a mess, isn't it?
It doesn't sound very good. I'll tell you that.
Suddenly, it just sunk down all the way, well, maybe all the way to the bottom. Maybe there's further to go. I would have thought.
So you didn't realize how conflicted you were until you became less conflicted. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's true. I think and the fact is that there's probably greater levels of peace.
And you were how old at this time?
Oh, it was only about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Wait, excuse me. I now know where my wife.
And you're a minister all that time.
I now know where my wife is sitting.
Exactly. And you're a minister all that time, and you still had doubts that you didn't even know you had until that moment.
Well, yes, of course, because your faith is. See, faith, reason, and doubt are mixed up, right. And I feel more reason. I feel it's more reasonable. And yet at the same time, because I have more reasons to believe, because having read that book, right. I got more faith, because it takes faith. It's not just knowledge. And were there doubts there? Yeah. And there still are. So more peace than I've ever had, sure. But I've got more to go, I'm sure.
For more information about the Veritas Forum, including additional recordings and a calendar of upcoming events, please visit our website at veritas.org.